parents were Pentecostals. Our preacher was known far and wide for his laying out of hands. Dr. Devine would stride down the center aisle of our church, placing his hands upon the afflicted. Touch this man over here. He no longer needs his blood pressure medicine. Touch this woman over here, and her arthritis would disappear. One day, put his hand on my head. I felt a great heat surge through me. Oh, he didn't cure anything. He wasn't much to cure. Other than some dandruff, mild case of stuttering. He couldn't do what a good shampoo or a good speech therapist couldn't do better. But I felt that heat. It wasn't just heat. It was also light. I'm here to enlighten y'all, Dr. Devine proclaimed from his pulpit. That man could make the Bible sing. He could unlock its secrets, turn it into a living document. He could tell a story after marvelous story, like the one about the angel and Emmanuel. He could talk for hours, hours, and hours. Not a soul would leave the church. I so much wanted to be like Dr. Devine. I wanted his heat. I wanted his light. And then one day, everything changed. Because you see, I'd fallen in love. It was 7th grade, and the hormones were just beginning to bubble up inside me. And I walked into that first day of science class. There it was, right up there on the wall. Periodic table of elements. It was love at first sight. You see, my parents didn't want to have any pets. So I adopted a new element every week. Stalwart helium, cool lithium, volatile californium. I took those elements everywhere. I petted them, I nurtured them, I made them mine. I was a lucky boy. I had more than 100 pets. Bible, well, Bible became just another book. I looked everywhere for that story, the angel, the manual. Couldn't find it, even though I could have sworn I read it with my own eyes. As for Dr. Devine, well, he became just another skinny preacher, one who trembled a lot, had unusually warm hands. Scales had fallen from my eyes. I was blind, but now I could see, thanks to the new light in my life, thanks be to science. Oh, glory be to science! You know, when we discovered Bacillus Hippocrates, it was like we'd all become Pentecostal preachers. I mean, we could circulate through an audience and with the merest prick of the needle, give you all eternal life. Or something close to it. Except we couldn't. Government wouldn't let us. Government wouldn't approve Bacillus Hippocrates for human trials. We wasted 2 extra years with monkeys and rats and rabbits. We performed experiment after experiment to prove how safe it was. Still, the government wouldn't grant approval. They worried about side effects. But I ask you, how do you put some loss of appetite, skin rash, a couple cases of mitochondrial myopathy, how do you put that on the scales, along with all the benefits? Make it all balance. Can't be done. We wasted 2 extra years. I ask you, did Dr. Devine go to the zoo and waste his talents on the animals? Did he go off to a dairy farm and place his hands on afflicted dairy cows? Of course he didn't. He used his talents, however dubious they might have been, on people. He stood before the angel of the Lord and he accepted the burden of responsibility that was placed upon his shoulders. Word leaked out. Word always leaks out. The press jumped all over our story. Oh, they didn't like Bacillus Hippocrates. That was too long a word for them. They never liked those scientific words. So they gave it their own name, called it the love bug. Oh, because the story broke on Valentine's Day. There were protests on all sides. People begging to be included in these human trials that we couldn't actually run. And then there was the other side, the folks who were scared of every little thing. People like my wife, my ex-wife. We had to do something. We couldn't just sit around and do nothing. So we set up those human trials in 4 countries on 4 continents. Albania, Mongolia, Guatemala, Nigeria. Those governments were thrilled to have our drug. usually the last in line for that kind of thing. It's like Dr. Divine used to say, first shall be last, but the last will have the last laugh.